Good morning, everybody. We're on part two of a doing the weave on the cardboard. And so on part one, I showed you how I did the warping, which is putting the strings in this way. Now we're going to weave, and that is called the weft. We're going to do the weft, which is the weaving. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some yarn. And I've got this blue. That's what I'm going to start my weave with. Now I'm going to pull some yarn off of this here pull some yarn off of this yarn, and I'm going to try to act like I'm professional at this, and so far it's not looking too good, is it? Looks like I'm making a big fat knot. Okay, here we go. They say in YouTube videos you got to make the first minute of your video good, or people's going to be walking away. And so, but that means I'm an exercise coach because I'm getting you to walk. So I'm wrapping this yarn around my shuttle. The shuttle, I showed you how I made that from the last part one, which was yesterday, or might not have been yesterday if you're watching both of them today. I don't know why I sometimes say yesterday or tomorrow, because I don't know when you're going to watch it. Okay, now for here we go. Now I've got some yarn put on my shuttle, and I'm going to go and I'm going to start weaving just over, under, over, under. See, I left this much of the yarn still left off of my shuttle, and I'm doing the over, under all the way through. Oh, like I said yesterday, wait a minute, I'll just do it on the next round. My professionalism, I left it at the front door. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this. I have a fork. Okay, so I'm going to leave a tail like here, but then that one I'll weave that tail in, hit it in a little bit. But see, now you can use your fork and you can get your weave down, pushing it with your fork. Okay, now I want to go, now see, this is what I forgot to do. This makes it easier. I'm just going to put my my ruler under there and use it for, they call that something and I don't remember. So I'm going to just call it a ruler. But if you're like professionally weaving, then there's a professional word for that. Okay, we'll stand, and then I got that underneath the whole thing. I just stand that thing up, and it gives you the space underneath, which I do know that's called the shed underneath there. This is a warp thread. This is the, no, yeah, this is the warp thread, and this is the weft. What's left is weft. Just remember, what's left is weft. Okay, and now before I shoot that underneath there, that shuttle again, I will make sure some of it is off of the shuttle. And then where this very last string here, the very last one is over, then I'm going to start, the next one is under. So under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, and all the way across. And there is so many different kind of stitches you can do in your weave, and we'll work on them another day. Okay, and then I kind of pull this gently, but I don't want to pull it so tight that I kind of keep my finger there, so I don't pull it tight, because it'll make your weave go like an hourglass. But then you might want an hourglass, then you would do that. But so we don't want an hourglass. I want my edges to be straight. and then kind of just pull it on down, using a fork. They make regular combs that you do that with. Some people even use just a comb, a comb like you, would you want to get one of them, a comb that's got bigger teeth in it, and that comb you can do this with. Okay, so that last one is over, so I want this one to be under. The last one was over, so now it's the first one, and I want it to be opposite, which will be under. And you'll notice if you didn't do it right away, you'll see that, oops, I missed something, and then you just pull it out and do it again. Okay, and then see, I kind of want to end it here with a kind of a curve, and then pull the yarn down to meet the other yarn. Okay, and so then we're going to go again. I'm going to do this, I think, 5 times, and then I'm going to put on a fringe. And in my mind, I'm going to try and remember what that stitch is. That knot is called, and already I think I forgot. And so that one in there. Maybe I'll remember it by the time I get to it. It doesn't really matter what the real name is. And I'm just going to call it fringe. But it's a rya knot. R-Y-A. That's what they call that. A rya knot. Well, this is not a rya knot. We're just plain old ordinary weaving right now. You can also, if you don't use a shuttle, you can put your I'm just pulling it all over the place. You can put your use one of the, like a plastic yarn needle. You can use as well to do your over unders. Over under. You'd be Wonder Woman. Going wonder under. Okay. I always kind of look down, make sure that I'm doing doing it right along, comparing it to the row below. So when I went over before, I'm doing under now, and then I'll pull that through there. Now this little bit of weaving that I'm doing right here is just going to kind of hold. It's just going to, I think this is, what did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I did 5 rows of weaving right here. And I'm going to now, I'm going to end that for right now. Now I'm going to put on my, now I'm going to use the rya knot to make my fringe. So I'm going to take my other yarn. I'm going to use, first I'm going to use this. This is just cotton yarn I'm using here. I usually like to use cotton when I'm making dish rags or something like that, and that really makes a nice, okay, so now you can count and do the math if you wanted to, but I kind of, and when I count, see, because I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 14 strings here, so I'm going to have 14. I'm going to have 7 rya knots, half that amount. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a book, and I'm going to Okay, and I want 3 yarns in each Ryan knot. So 3 strands. So I need 7 times 3 is 21. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So then I'll cut those off. And so now I'll take it off of the book, and then I'll cut at the bottom. I've got 21 strands of yarn here, and I'm going to use 3 on each Ryan knot for my first row of Ryan knots, because I'm going to use 2 rows. So I'm going to take 3 strands, and I'm going to go over the first two warp threads. I'm going to over them, so the middle of them 3 are over, and then I take and go, I went over the top, and then I wrap them under and pull through the middle, under and pull through the middle, and then having them even, I pull that down gently and put it kind of tight, not real tight, just kind of tight. And I got the first Ryan knot on there. Now I'm going to take 3 more strands and 3 more strands, and I have them like about in the middle. Looks like I didn't get my cut real even, but hey, I'm not no perfectionist. So I'm going to go over the next two, 1, 2, go over them, but then under, I'll pull this side through the center there. Under, I'll pull there through the center of those 2 lines, of those 2. See there? Now I've got 2 sets of Ryan knots in there. Then I go again and pick 3 more strands of yarn. And depending on how heavy you want your fringe is how many strands you decide you want in each Ryan knot. So here again, we go to the next 2. All right, and there we got it. Went over, go over them. See, oh, that one pulled too tight. Let's not do that. Pulling too tight stuff, girlfriend. Okay, see, there I got it. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then take 3 more strands. And you might want a longer fringe. If you do that, you need a bigger book to wrap them. Okay, so again, the middle, go over those 2, the next 2 strings. And there's different ways that you can even do this. You can do this way that I'm showing you, or well, I'll show you in a minute what I'm meaning. Because you could do it this way, or you could take these 2 and then use this one, and then these 2 and these 2 and this 2, and it makes this top part just a little bit like a slant all the way across. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Okay, and then I have again 3. I'm going to go over the next 2. And it's got that space in the center, but I'm going to take care of that space with my next row of Ryan knots. And pull that through. And I'll pull another 3. over the top, lay them over the top of them too, and then go under. Listen, pick that up. Sometimes if you got chubby fingers, you got to get you a little help here. You girls that have them, or guys or peeps that have skinny fingers, you guys are lucky. Lucky. There, and now I have 3 more strands, and they're going to go over these last 2 warp threads. Now, if you didn't want a fringe on your piece, you could have just kept weaving all the way up if you wanted just a simple flat piece, which is nice to do too, especially if you're going to be doing like some spirit stitching of some kind on top of it. So if you didn't want, excuse me, a little bit of a fringe. But now I'm going to go and take, I'm going to do a knot over each one of those spaces. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. 6 times 3 is 18. So I want 18 pieces. But what will I do the same or should I do, yeah, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do 18. So I'm going to get myself 18 more pieces. Because now I'm just counting the, because these are just going to be on the inside. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. And that's 18 because I'm putting 3 in each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Give an extra one because I don't know if I lost count there. Okay, and then I pull them off of the book. And then I cut them down at the bottom. I might have 1 extra. That's better. Best to have 1 extra than 1 not enough. I'll just work with that. Okay, now I'm going to take, again, I'm going to pull out 3. And now I'm going to use these, not the first string, but the second and third warp string. And I'm going to go do the same thing and go over it, over the 2 strings, and pull them through, under through the middle. And then see, when you pull those down, then that fills in that space right there in the center. So now I'm going to go again with 3 threads, and the thread is kind of wrinkled because I'm pulling it out of the center of the spool of thread there, and so it's kind of like wrinkled. If you don't like that wrinkled, in time while it's hanging, the wrinkles are going to straighten out. Or you can use a steamer like you use for steaming clothes. If you have one of them, you can steam that. I guess you could even burst steam with your steam iron just on it and maybe get the wrinkles out. But I've seen weavers use a steamer like you use on your clothes. I don't use a steamer on my clothes, but I used one time, and that was when we was at my granddaughter's wedding, and we had a steamer to make sure her wedding dress was nice and smooth as she walked down the aisle. I'm going to use the steamer. Okay. Now I get 3 more pieces here. Excuse my non-professionalism. If you want somebody that does this professional, I'm telling you, there are some good teachers on YouTube. Many, many, many that'll teach you how to do this. I'm just showing you what I've learned so far by watching all of these professional people that are doing it nicely. So there I have 3 more. And I'm going to go here. See, I'm skipping. Each time I'm skipping right along. And you'll see when you're working on your own that where the next one will go. You can see I'm working in the spaces here. And then, good thing I did an extra one because I would have been short one. Okay, then I got 2 more right there because I only got 1 more space left. So I'll take those 3 and it goes over those 2 warp threads and then under in between, and that is what they call a Raya knot. Now, those are quite tidy in there. Okay, so now I have my fringe on there. Comb it out a little bit here. Okay, so my fringe is on. Now later on, when I'm finished, I'm going to let time for this to relax, so I won't cut it right now. But what I'll do is I'll probably use a rotary cutter, and I would put a straight edge right here, and then I would cut, or your scissors. Use a straight edge unless you want this raggedy kind of an edge, and I'm a raggedy kind of a person, so I would probably leave that. Now I still have my yarn on the shuttle, so I'm going to start, and here it won't matter if you start over under. I mean, I'll start over, and then my next row will be under. So under, over, under, and just kind of watch as you're going along, and go make sure that you're doing the over under. Now there you might find after you do this a while that you want to start making designs in your weave, and if you do that, then there might be some times that you don't do just a regular over under. There might be a over under and over under over under over under. You got me right. See, I ended that one with under here. I ended it, so now the next one I want to make sure it's over. Okay, kind of check and make sure I didn't mess that up. And then I'll pull that right down there to that like a little curve. And I won't try and pull it straight just with the yarn, because then you're apt to pull the whole thing. You're apt to pull the whole thing all goofy. I mean, then you'll get that hourglass thing. So now that one ended with an under, so I'll start with over. And then it's just over, under, over, under. I could have made my little shuttle a little bit longer there. And I've done this like on a picture frame, but I made it and left it on the picture frame. And there's so many things you can do with weaving. And, and it's just really fun. It's just really fun. And I'm going to be making up some kits for my granddaughter when she comes over, so that she'll be able to weave up an a project. And so, and you can make up a kit like this for your grandchild or for a young child. Just make up a kit, even a handmade kit for a gift for a young child is awesome. It's awesome. And make something simple like this, so that, I mean, if you were to make a gift for someone, have the piece of cardboard, you could have it already the slots cut up here, and have the string ready, maybe a warp string, and then for the weft, few pieces of yarn, and have a little shuttle already made. And that would be fun to do with a small child. Now I'm looking, as I look for instructions on the YouTubes, I'm looking at instructions for beginners, and I get instructions that are mostly made for children, and I think I'm somebody's child, and y'all are somebody's child, so don't feel bad if you look at real beginners things. In fact, I saw one. It was the cutest thing, and you could use 4 or 5 straws, drinking straws, and with the yarn and weaving, and make the cutest little wristbands. I'm going to do one of them too. That's for children, it so says, and I thought, okay, I'm somebody's child, I can do that. But a lot of times I hear a lot of people say, oh, I did that in Vacation Bible School or something. And yeah, this is a real awesome. If you're someone who teaches in Sunday school or Vacation Bible School or things like that, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, this is a wonderful craft to start them out with. And like I say, you just do not need many. You do not need many supplies to do this with. And I've got a big loom, a big weaving loom in there on a table in my living room that I haven't even done it yet. I have the loom, and I'm going to make a large art project, but I'm waiting for some yarn that I bought from an online auction. So, and it's a whole bunch of yarns, different yarns that I got, and I think I spent $11. But good night, there must be at least that many skeins of yarn or more. But they're all in like earth tones, and they're all different weights and styles of yarn, and I'm going to use that when I get it, and that is what I'm going to do on my hi Papa. That's what I'm going to use on my big one. This one. Thank you, sweetie.
Fresh coffee.
Fresh coffee for Mama. Thank you. I didn't even hear you get up.
That's because I was sneaking.
You were sneaking, you old slick Willie.
We just sneak. I'm going out for my morning walk.
Do your morning walk, okay. Come back safe. I love you. Good
Love
morning.
you,
okay, and so what I'm doing here now I'm gonna use up what yarn I have on the shuttle here. And so, and I'm just doing, on this one, all I'm going to do is the over under all the way. And, but I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to use some different colors. So I'm thinking that right now what I'll probably do, I'm going to finish up with this here blue. This one I call kind of a country blue. And see, I'm being careful as not to pull it tight. I don't want to pull it tight. I want to get these ends, I want to keep them to where they're kind of loose over here on the pulling end, whatever you call that end right there, so that I won't get that hourglass look. I don't want the hourglass look. And I get it tucked right down in there. Now, again, and the main thing is to, at your beginning of each row, you make sure it's opposite of what the last row started with. Now, you can use, for your warp threads, you can use the same yarn. If you're using the same yarn, then you don't even see the warp threads. But actually, after you comb it down, it hides those warp threads. And I found that using the thread, like the string for your warp, makes your, using the string for your warp, your yarn slides a little smoother. And because I've done some, like the one I'm working on over here, I used yarn for the warp threads, and it's a little bit tougher to push your yarns down. Now see, on this one I'm changing out different kind of yarns I'm putting in here. And this one I only did part here, and I did this one differently, and now this one's kind of on a slant. And this one I'm making it a whole bunch of different, that one's going to be a whole bunch of different things. And as you see, I am one who doesn't finish one project before I start another. I get another idea and I say, oh, I want to do that. Okay. So now, I don't want to keep you too long here. But if you're working along with me, then just work along with me. We're here together. We're in this here together stuff. And my goodness, and I'm using yarn, but you can use so many different threads or fibers or strips of fabric. I've made strips of fabric out of old sheets. Old sheets you can get, like, in one sheet is a whole lot of fabric. And if you can find a used sheet at the thrift store that's been washed 150 times, then that fabric is so nice and soft, and you can just tear it into strips because it'll tear just beautifully. And then you have strips of fabric, and then you can dye them. You can dye the fabric. You know how, if you spill Kool-Aid on your white shirt, it's going to stain your shirt. It's probably pretty much ruined. Well, you can do the same thing with your strips of sheet. You got an old white sheet, cut it in do a bunch of strips, and then get you some of that Kool-Aid packets, Kool-Aid packets, not the kind with sugar, but the kind without sugar. Not sugar-free, just a plain old Kool-Aid packets, and you can get generics too. And all it is really a pigment. Put that in some water and put those sheet pieces, make here a bowl of red, and here a bowl of yellow, and here a bowl of green, whatever, And then you got all these really pretty colors. And put a little vinegar in there. and then the vinegar will help set that color so it'll, just like you're going to dye eggs. You know, you have that egg dye and you put vinegar in with the water, and it sets the color, you know. And then you have all this stuff. All you have all that stuff. Okay, I'm going to take the rest of that yarn and put it. Now, see, you don't even need a shuttle, really. You can just use your fingers to weave it in and out, over and under. Oops. So I don't use the shuttle when I get toward the end of my piece of yarn. And then that'll go across one more time. But even if it didn't go all the way across, you could go and stop in the middle, and then that hides your end of your yarn. Be in the back. Okay. See how what I do when I'm concentrating, I get quiet. And just all that concentrating stuff right here. And so I'm just fidgeting here. Now see, that's that little bitty end there. I'm going to stuff that right under there. And let that live right there. Now, I'm going to change colors. Now I'm going to take this yarn. Now this one isn't cotton. This one here is more of a different something. This is different something right here. Where's my different something scissors? Gosh, I bury things up so quickly here. And so now I'm going to take a piece of pink. I'm going to wrap that around my shuttle. And see your shuttle, you just have that piece of cardboard with an indentation on either end, and that holds your yarn right there. Okay, so now see, there are always overs at the end here. This is over. I'm going to go over, under, over. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Here, I'm going to start right over here, because see where that ended right there? That's over. So then I want to start this one with under, over, under, over, under, over, under. We'll see. If you put your ruler in there, Elizabeth, you would have an easier time. Yeah, if you put too much yarn on this, on the shuttle, it's kind of a little trickier to, okay, I want to get that right there where that one ended, sort of ended, sort of. I could actually tie those two together. I could do that later, though. Okay. Okay. Get that back underneath here and see if I can get this, stand this up. Get me a little shade going on there. There we go. That opens up that space so I can get my shuttle under, over, under, over, under, over. Okay. Yeah, I should have tied those two together maybe right there, but that's okay. I'll tie them. I'll tie them after I take it off of the loom. Or maybe it'll be tight enough that I'll be able to sneak it on in there. But it's going to be fine. It's going to be just fine. Fine and dandy like sugar candy. Now, yeah, with that shed stick, think that's what they call that, is a shed stick. I call it, it's a ruler really, but if you're like professional, it would be a shed stick, I think. All right. Okay, now that I've bored you all half out of your skeletons, I'm going to got a few things planned to do today. For one thing, I got a fan I want to clean. Oh, my fans get so grungy. I guess I got dust flying through my house. I live in Florida, though. We collect dust here. Okay, see how my next line is going to be pink. Then if I put some of this, then go back in with this yarn again and put some of this in here, and then maybe some more blue, and then maybe some more pink. It's just fun. I'm telling you, this is just, if you don't do it for anything else, do it because it's fun and it's soothing and it's relaxing, and then you can do so many things with your weave when you're finished. So I'm going to leave it at this right now, and I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to finish it all the way up, and then I'm going to take it off. But when I take it off of the loom, I'll make part 3, and then I'll show you what I do to take it off. And so, but I'm already been 42 minutes here, so I'm going to go ahead and, but that is just starting the weave. I put the weave on. I put like 5 rows at the bottom of weave. Then I put on the Rias knots to make the fringe. I put actually 2 rows of Raya knots, and then I started the weave again. I'm just going to do a regular weave all the way to the top, and then I'll be back with part 3 where I'm going to take this off of this cardboard. All right, and this is fun. I hope you all are. I hope there's a lot of you that are trying it. And don't think of it as, oh, it's just a little kid thing, because it's not. If you go and look up some videos on weaving, you will see some beautiful, beautiful weaves done. Very artistic weaves, and you can do it with just a very simple piece of cardboard and string and some yarn or whatever fibers that you have. Okay, so now I'm going to go in my book Lovingly again, and I'm going to read. We've been reading Mother's Day things because we are getting close to Mother's Day. And so this one here is a Mother's Day prayer. Our Father in heaven, whose love is divine, thanks for the love of a mother like mine. And in thy great mercy look down from above, and grant this dear mother the gift of your love. And all through the year, whatever betide her, assure her each day that you are beside her. And Father in heaven, show me the way to lighten her tasks and brighten her day, and bless her dear heart with the insight to see that her love means more than the world to me. Now this looks like this was written by somebody to their mother, and these are all written by Helen Steiner Rice. She is speaking to her mother. And now, like right now, I speak, my mother is already in heaven. But then I have got 3 daughters and 3 daughter-in-laws that are all mothers. And so when I read this, I can feel these words going out to my daughters because they're all mothers. My daughters and my daughter-in-laws, they're all mothers, and they're all very good mothers. And I don't know what makes a good mother a good mother. As long as you're doing your best, you're a good mother. And so, but, and like I have said before, Mother's Day coming up like this very soon, um, with Mother's Day coming up um, very soon, we want to show gratitude to all the mothers that we have here on earth, all the mothers on earth. And like I said, you do not have to have given birth to a baby to be a mother. And you don't even have to be a woman to be a mother. I know of a gentleman, well, I knew of a gentleman, he just kind of passed away, but he was raising his two sons all by himself. He was a single parent, so he was the mother and the father. Now the grandmother has the two boys because he unexpectedly. Okay, wait a minute. I have to. Okay, that was my daughter on the phone. And so I just want to finish up by asking God to watch over each and every one of you, every step you take, every move you make, and, and do some weaving. Do some weaving. It is just fun. I'm going to continue this one on today and finish it to the top. But like I say, I'll make, once I get to the top, then I'm going to have another video to show you how I take it off of this. And maybe I'm just talking to a wall. Maybe y'all know this, but I'm just kind of learning, so I'm just kind of sharing what I'm learning. Okay, God bless you all.